A lion walked into a hospital, carrying something that would leave everyone in shock. The moment the nurse uncovered the truth, you'll be speechless. And hey, drop a comment to let us know where you're watching from. The rain came down heavily, soaking the neon sign outside St. Mary's Hospital in Phoenix, Arizona. Elia Carter, a dedicated nurse with over 10 years of experience, sat at her desk, slowly sipping her lukewarm coffee. Her eyelids were heavy with exhaustion, but she pushed through. Another busy night, she thought. At least, that's what she believed. Suddenly, the soft chime of the automatic doors opening jolted her from her thoughts. Elia glanced up, expecting to see a late-night visitor or an ambulance crew. Instead, her coffee mug slipped from her hands, crashing to the floor. Standing in the doorway was a lion, a massive golden-maned beast, its fur drenched from the rain. The storm raged behind it, yet the lion stood perfectly still, its eyes scanning the room. For a brief moment, time seemed to stand still. The busy hospital, usually filled with the sounds of footsteps and voices, fell completely silent. Everyone around her froze in place, struggling to comprehend what they were seeing. The lion wasn't threatening, it wasn't roaring or charging. It just stood there, calmly observing the scene, almost as if it belonged there. But what caught Emilia's attention wasn't just the sheer impossibility of it all. What truly shook her was the bundle the lion carried in its powerful jaws. It was wrapped carefully in cloth, and with every step it took, the soft sound of its claws tapping against the tile echoed in the quiet hospital lobby. Emilia's breath caught when its amber eyes met hers. She felt a pull, a strange, unexplainable connection, one that made her forget about any fear. Whispers of disbelief rippled through the hospital staff. Some of the security guards hesitated, unsure if they should intervene. Doctors stood motionless, dumbstruck. But Elia, without really thinking, took a step forward. Her heart raced, but there was something deep inside her that told her to trust this creature. As the lion slowly walked into the center of the lobby, it gently lowered the bundle to the floor, nudging it toward Elia with the soft touch of its nose. It then sat back on its haunches as if waiting. The only sound in the room was the rain tapping against the windows. Elia knelt down, her hands shaking with a mix of wonder and fear. She carefully unwrapped the wet cloth, revealing what lay beneath. Her breath hitched in her throat. It was a baby, an infant no older than a few days. Its skin was pale, its tiny chest rising and falling weakly. The baby's lips were tinged with blue, and it gave a faint, pitiful cry. Tears welled in Emilia's eyes. She quickly snapped into action, her years of training taking over. This baby needed immediate medical attention. "Pediatric team, now," she called out urgently, her voice steady yet full of command. The silence in the room was shattered by her words. The lion didn't move. It remained where it was, watching Elia with a knowing look in its eyes. It seemed to understand that its job was done, that the baby was now in safe hands. As Elia passed the baby to a team of doctors and nurses rushing in with an incubator, she glanced back at the lion. Something didn't add up. Where had it come from? Why had it brought the baby here? And how could it show such care? Her thoughts were interrupted by the voice of Dr. Marcus Green, the hospital's chief physician, who had just entered the scene. He looked at Elia, then the lion, his face filled with shock and disbelief. "What's going on here?" he demanded, his voice betraying his confusion. Elia quickly explained. "The lion, it brought the baby. It walked in, laid the child down, and then just sat there. It knew something was wrong." Dr. Green's gaze softened as he looked at the baby, who was now being whisked away to the neonatal unit. He turned to the lion, still sitting calmly. "And the lion?" he asked. "I don't know," Elia whispered, turning her gaze back to the creature. The lion hadn't moved an inch. It remained still, its fur dripping water, seemingly waiting for something or someone. Just then, security guards began to approach, radios buzzing with frantic chatter. One guard raised a tranquilizer gun, his hands trembling. Emilia's voice rose, firm and commanding. "No one touches that lion. It saved a life tonight. We owe it the same care." Dr. Green hesitated, but eventually nodded, trusting Emilia's instincts. "Let's figure this out," he said quietly. Before anything else could happen, the lion stood. It turned slowly and began walking back toward the door. It paused for a moment, glancing back at Elia as though to say goodbye. And then, just as quietly as it had entered, the lion disappeared into the rain. Elia stood there, her heart still racing, her mind buzzing with questions. Where had it gone? How had it known what to do? Why did she feel like this wasn't the end of the story? Later, as the storm outside continued to roar, one of the nurses hurried over to Amelia, holding something small in her hand. "I found this in the baby's blanket," she said breathlessly. Amelia took the object, a small, gold locket, slightly tarnished but unmistakably engraved. Her hands shook as she opened it. Inside was a photograph, faded but clear, showing a woman holding a newborn baby, smiling softly. The back of the locket bore an inscription, "For Anna, protect him no matter the cost." Amelia stared at the locket, her mind racing. Who was Anna? Was she the baby's mother? And how was the lion connected to all of this? As the doctors worked to stabilize the baby in the neonatal unit, Amelia stood outside, watching through the glass with a mixture of hope and worry. The baby's chest, once barely moving, now rose and fell steadily, thanks to the incubator. Dr. Green emerged from the room, his expression a blend of relief and confusion. "The baby's stable for now," he said. "He's dehydrated and hypothermic, but there's no sign of physical trauma. It's a miracle, Amelia. Whoever or whatever brought him here, they saved his life." Amelia nodded, clutching the locket in her hand. But there was still one question she couldn't shake. But who is he, Marcus? And how did he get here? That lion, he didn't just stumble in, it knew. It understood. Before Dr. Green could answer, the intercom crackled, followed by a voice, "Security, to the main entrance." "We have a situation." Amelia's heart sank. She turned to Dr. Green. "Stay with the baby," she said. "I'll handle this." The main lobby had changed. The calm of earlier had evaporated, replaced by the buzz of police officers, reporters, and civilians who had clearly heard the rumors. Amelia pushed through the crowd, her eyes searching for Carl, the head of security. "What's going on?" she asked, her voice steady despite the chaos. Carl gestured toward a man standing just outside the hospital doors. He was tall, drenched in rain, his unkempt hair falling into frantic eyes. He was clutching a photograph. "He showed up a few minutes ago," Carl explained. "Claims he's looking for his son. Says he knows about the lion." Amelia's pulse quickened. "His son?" she asked, stepping forward. She locked eyes with the man. "Sir, I'm Nurse Carter. You said you're looking for your son." The man's hands trembled as he held out the photograph. It was the same woman and baby from the locket, but now the man was in the picture, too. His arm was around the woman, and his face radiated pride. "My name is David," he said, his voice cracking. "My wife, Anna, she passed away 3 days ago. Our car went off the road during the storm. I tried to get help, but when I came back, the baby was gone. I thought I'd lost him too." Amelia's breath caught in her throat. "Your wife's name was Anna?" she asked, almost whispering. David nodded, tears filling his eyes. "She gave me this," he said, pulling out a matching gold locket. "She said it was meant to protect him no matter what." Amelia's grip tightened on the locket in her hand. "David, your baby is here. He's safe," she said gently, though her heart was full of wonder. "But there's something else." David's face paled as he listened. "A lion brought him to us," Amelia explained. "It walked into the hospital carrying your son. It didn't hurt anyone. It just left him here." David's expression shifted from disbelief to shock. "A lion," he whispered. Amelia nodded. "It didn't harm anyone, it knew. It understood." David's voice faltered. "The lion, it was Anna's wish." Amelia blinked. "What do you mean?" David explained shakily. "Anna grew up near a wildlife sanctuary. There was a lion there, one she cared for as a child. His name was Solomon. She always said he was special, like he could understand her. Before she passed, she told me that if anything happened to us, Solomon would know." Amelia placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. "David, your son is alive because of her wish. The lion somehow brought him here. We don't understand how, but he's safe, and he needs you." David stood by the incubator, tears streaming down his face as he gazed at his son. Amelia stood nearby, giving him space but watching the emotional reunion, her heart full. The baby stirred, his tiny hand reaching out as if sensing his father's presence. "He looks just like her," David whispered, voice thick with emotion. Thank you for saving him." Amelia smiled gently. "It wasn't just us," she replied softly. "Solomon knew." David nodded, still looking at his son. "I don't know how to repay you," he said, his voice breaking. "There's nothing to repay," Amelia replied quietly. "Your wife's love, and that lion's instinct, that's what brought him here. That's all that matters." But even as the reunion brought relief and joy, Amelia's mind lingered on the unanswered questions of the night. Where had Solomon gone? How could he have acted with such intelligence? Why did it feel like this was only the beginning of something bigger? The next morning, as the first rays of sunlight broke through the clouds, Amelia found herself outside the hospital. The air was fresh and calm after the storm. She scanned the street, almost hoping for a glimpse of the lion. And then she saw him, just beyond the edge of the hospital parking lot, standing in the shadows. Solomon. Their eyes met one last time. His golden mane shimmered in the light, and Amelia felt a profound sense of peace, as though the lion was saying goodbye. With a low rumble, Solomon turned and walked away, disappearing into the trees. Amelia stood there for a long moment, the cool morning air against her skin. She clutched the locket in her hand, her heart full of wonder and gratitude. The world may still be full of questions, but one thing was certain: love and loyalty can transcend all understanding, and on that stormy night, a lion had proven it.